Welcome to Inside Abode, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? I'm your host, Dave Jones. We have a special episode for you today. Today is the Black History Month reflection episode. So back in 2019, I started a Black History Month reflection series of podcasts. You can go back and check them out and listen to them. We talk about all different kinds of Black issues during Black History Month. But I think the key of this, though, is understanding that we celebrate Black history all year long. I want to make sure that that's clear. But it is important to highlight things during Black History Month and make sure that we're, educating ourselves, but also helping educate other people. So the Black History Month Reflection Series is a series where you get to just be a fly on the wall of Black people talking about Black things and Black issues and things of that nature. So before we get into my guest, I want to make sure that you subscribe. Like, take the time, hit subscribe. You can subscribe on the channel, whether you're listening to this via YouTube, whether you're listening to it via audio, like podcasting, streaming podcasts, Apple's, Spotify. We're on all the streams. Hit the subscribe button. We drop weekly, and it's good stuff. So make sure that you're tapping it. All right. My guest today is someone that has been on here before, on the podcast before, has been on the Black History Month Reflection Series before. She's also a business partner of mine. She's also a friend of mine, and she's also an owner, and she's also the second Black owner in Windermere history, and she's also the first Black woman owner in history for Windermere. And I don't know, this is a pretty powerful episode. We got two. This is Black history going on right now. I was going to make that sweatshirt, like, I am Black history. So, Jasmyn Jefferson, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'll say I'm in a much better headspace than I was the last time we did this.
Oh, really? Why you say that?
I was very raw. There was a lot going on at that time. And so our conversation, it just felt all over the place, and it was a reflection of where I was at dealing with a lot of stuff personally. And, a lot's happened since then. We've opened this office in Lakewood. We've become not just friends, but also business partners. So that has straightened up some of the consternation that I've had going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes it good, though. Yeah. I think that you made the comment the other day about where you were at, and I was just like, man, I mean, if I did that, and even on all of these podcasts, since this podcast has come out, I've been in different places every single episode, almost damn near. So I think it's a good thing to share and be vulnerable in that sense, because if you weren't in a different spot, then there's probably a problem. I don't know. Like, I'm in a different spot than I was in 2019 when I started this series, right? Things have changed.
It just brings back,
Oh yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Though. I get what you're saying. Yeah. You ain't trying to go back there. I feel you. Yeah. All right. So today we're going to talk about the Black Home Initiative. Mm-hmm. So for those who want to understand what the Black Home Initiative is, what is the Black Home Initiative?
Yeah, so it's basically what it sounds like. It's an initiative for Black people to become homeowners and to shrink or remove the wealth gap through home ownership. So I was introduced to it early last year, but I know it was, implemented prior to that. It was relatively early on. A group called the Civic Commons called a meeting with some folks at the city of Tacoma, and that's how I got introduced to it.
Okay. And so the reason why this is important, obviously we know that the Fair Housing Act, 1968, during the 60s and the civil rights movement, we know that 50 plus years later, the Fair Housing Act is still, we still have the wide gap. Black people are actually at the very bottom rung of home ownership in Washington, not only in Washington state, but in the whole country, which is just kind of wild to me to even think about in terms of the contributions that Black folks have made to this country, and how are we at the bottom?
Well, it's gotten worse. It's worse now.
It's gotten worse since That's just crazy to me when you think about that. So when you talk about this Black Home Initiative, what is the goal of the Black Home Initiative, and who is involved in this?
Yeah, so the partners, and I am going to reference some information to try to get it correct on the website, because, you know, I just be jumping into stuff. I don't even know people's last names. I'm like, yes, let's do it. So I mentioned Civic Commons. It is, and the BHI is an initiative of the Seattle Foundation led by Michael Brown. He's a civic architect. The Civic Commons team includes Marty Koistra, Caitlin Moran, Frank Nam, and Alex Perry. These are the people I was first introduced to in that group. And the work that has been taking place, I want to get to what it originated as. So we know about the discriminatory practices and covenants, codes, and restrictions, and taking a look at all the wrong things that have been done and how do you start correcting those. And the way it was presented to us at that meeting was there was a goal between King County and Pierce County to create 1,500 new Black homeowners in 5 years. And immediately you felt kind of this rustle through the room, and it came out, I think it was the mayor, Victoria Wooders, who was like, 1,500, we need 3,000. And so everybody was, you know, in agreement. And I mean, we were so early in the process that it was the idea of, so I think they wanted to have an attainable number and build on that. So that's really where we got that, because we know that families thrive through home ownership. There's more stability, security, the equity that can be used. You know, I use the equity in my family home in order to become your business partner. Without that house, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So yeah, that's kind of the beginning of that.
Yeah, it's so important. And the reason why we wanted to do this podcast is to let people know that this work is actually being done. Because it feels like, and I think that you mentioned this when we talked about the Black Home Initiative, is it feels like we're doing this work in silos. And this is not just in this industry. This is like in general. I feel like we're all doing work in silos, and we have social media and all this technology. How are we still so siloed off in different areas, whether it be medicine or education or policing or housing or even within housing?
And that's what I heard them say, which they acknowledge that. Like, we all know that, but the group was saying, okay, enough is enough. We're in these silos. We got to get out of them. We have so many people doing this work. We have to connect the dots, and we have to move this forward. Like, we've been talking about this too long, just like you were saying, for 60, 50 years. We've been talking about policies and changing, and it feels like these baby steps have been made, and then we get pushed back, you know, however far.
Yeah. And that's, it's frustrating, for me, to be frank and honest, but at the same time, what happens, like, so with the Black Home Initiative, what if someone hears this and they're like, hey, I want to be a part of the Black Home Initiative? Is this something that, is it like a closed thing, or is it something that people can participate in? Like, so, how do people help out?
The best way people can lend their participation is educating themselves on what it is. They can go to the civiccommons.org website, look up BHI or the Black Home Initiative, find out what it is, and get on the email list. But you can also lend your name in support of, because there's power in numbers, right? We have organizations who are contributing money. Not everybody has time to go to all the committee meetings. I'm one of those people. I'm in the core group. I can't come to all the meetings. So what can I do? And then there's other people who are like, you guys are doing great work. I don't need to come to the meetings. I don't need to recreate the wheel. I want to support you. And so there'll be calls to action that go out on policy. And we're seeing that all happening right now in real life, actually.
Oh, cool. So the Black Home Initiative is involved politically with policies and bills and things like that?
Yes. So there's the policy and advocacy piece of it. There is bringing together developers, because the developers are even in silos. Like you said, there's other industries. this developer's over here doing this one's doing this. You got your nonprofit developers not talking to the for-profits, and can the for-profits learn from what the nonprofit? I mean, so it's bringing all of those people together, but everybody's like-minded. We don't have to explain stuff to people.
Yeah.
And that has been refreshing, because a lot of times we go into a room and you got to educate people before you can even get to page one of what we're about to read. It's like a lot of the folks have read it or they've lived it. It's a lot of people who've lived these things and have experienced them.
Yeah, that's important. And I know one person that's involved in it, and that was how I understood and knew about it, is Kevin Hunter, and he's a friend of mine, or actually, a friend. Some people that actually Katie I've had on this show, one of our most listened to shows actually, where she basically died and came back. Like it's a good episode. So Katie's a really special person. And then Zach. And so I had them both at Stadium. And so I know Kevin to be a really, really solid dude. Also, Katie was on there because Katie went to a HBCU as a white girl with blonde hair, and she talks about that experience. It's a really good podcast. Just so shout out to Kevin for doing the racial reconciliation work and raising kids that are curious, and real about, everything. And so I really appreciate that family, and I appreciate him reaching out, and that made me really curious, and you're already involved. And so I was like, man, this is good stuff. So you mentioned something about going into the room and everyone understanding. And I asked you a question before this, like, because I get frustrated when it comes to policy, and here's why. We've been doing this now. Like we mentioned, Fair Housing Act was passed in 1968, and actually Black home ownership has decreased. I don't understand how that's even possible, because we've done all of this policy work and we continue to do this policy work. And I'm not saying it's not important. I think we still need to continue to do it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's frustrating because after 50 plus years, we actually have worse outcomes. And to me, it feels like we're not getting to the root of the issue, which is the people. And to be really direct, it's white folks that are carrying out the policies. And maybe, and I'm not going to generally blanket statement all white folks. I'm just going to say, like, that's, to me, we have to be really frank about this and really direct. And I don't think that we're doing that. I think that we're trying to hide behind policy. We're trying, not us, not me and you. I'm just saying in general how we're attacking this. There seems to be, because if we've gone 50 years and we have negative outcomes, we got to start looking somewhere else. Like, why isn't this working? And it feels like if we're the people who are carrying out the policies aren't all the way tapped into where they stand and truly educated on this, on the harm that's been done and the oppression that's been, like, it's so, I don't know. It's just frustrating. So that's a long way of me saying it's frustrating to me that I feel like we need to start addressing other things as well as the policy, and on large scale, if we're ever going to get out of this. And that means education. That means changing up how we educate in schools. You have the CRT thing and all this other stuff, and people like white supremacy is going to take something and flip it so it's negative. It's like, no, we just want to teach our history. Right. So I don't know. Sorry to be long-winded. No, I'm just frustrated.
I think that your frustration, you're not alone in that. And I think that's part of the energy that we're seeing in BHI is a group of frustrated people.
Okay,
and
good.
It is, there's white people, Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, but they're all talking about the Black Home Initiative, because I think everybody is coming together that understands this. And so the message is unified that's going out. It's not just a person or, the Urban League that's just talking about it, or the NAACP. You've got members of the Urban League who are in this group, members of the NAACP who are on committees of housing that are in this group. The Pierce County Black Collective has had multiple presentations on this, and they're significant in their influence in policy, and people listen to what comes out of that group. And so what BHI has been able to do is that it's like that compound effect. We're seeing everything that we would have wanted to happen 6 years ago. I feel that it's happening because you hear people on the House floor, the Senate floor, talking about specific terms. Harm has been done to Black people.
Right.
The institution of slavery, the foundation of this country, has caused these things to happen, and we have to talk about it that way. And so, people not pussyfooting around and using colorful language to not describe specifically what's happening. That's what I'm seeing in this group. And when I say it's refreshing, it's refreshing. So when I can get to those meetings, I'm in that meeting. If I can't be on
you up in here selling me. I might have to mess around. Come through looking like Sam Jackson. Look at him.
Oh, Lord.
The Black Turtle. I got a Sam Jackson. No, that's I hear you, and I think that is really refreshing to hear that that's your take on the group, and I'm really proud, not only proud, but also just happy that we're making these strides, and we're so early in this fight. Like when we were talking about this the other day, like we're so early in this that I understand how early we are. So when I have that piece of frustration, and it may come off as like really, I don't know. I don't like talking like that. I don't like blaming people for things. You know what I mean? But when people don't take responsibility for their part in it, that's when I have a problem. It's not about me trying to blame people, but I'm like, damn. I mean, do we not know the history? Do we not know how grotesque this has been? Do we not know how? I mean, this is 400 years plus of the same thing. Like how are we not getting better at this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. How are we still dealing with this? So that's just the frustration.
No, I get it.
So yeah. So Black Home Initiative. Hopefully people learn something there. Before we get out of here, we have one more segment. Are you ready for the segment?
I guess. So hear it.
It's called Hot Take.
Oh no!
So
what is that?
You have to pick either or.
Oh,
I'm just gonna give you two things. You just gotta pick either or. We were playing a game called Black Card Revoked at the at the dinner table last night, and yeah. So I'm gonna go off the top of the head on this one. So since we know each other, I'm gonna see if I can't learn some new things about you. All right, are you ready for Hot Take? There's five questions. All right. First one: Martin or In Living Color?
In Living Color.
What?
Martin's stressing me out, man. It's all that high freaking.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So much noise.
I should have said another show, but it's all good. All right. Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor.
Dang. Okay. Richard Pryor. You said that like it was supposed to be. Okay.
No,
all right. So, at the cookout, are you going for the potato salad first or the mac and cheese first?
Damn. Who's cooking? Whose cookout are we at? So to be safe, I'm gonna bring my mac and cheese. I'm gonna pass on somebody else's potato salad, and we'll just eat my own cooks. There you go.
I'm gonna be real. I do like pickles in my potato salad. You like pickles in your potato salad?
Yes.
Okay,
But I like both. So okay. I can go with or without. It doesn't have to be. But I'm not doing fruit. And I don't know what other weird things people be putting in their potato salad. It's not cooked is the other thing. At least mac and cheese is cooked. So I'm going for the mac and cheese that I brought.
Okay. This next question is going to be, this is the first multiple choice I've ever done on Hot Take before. And so this is a multiple choice question. All right, so you have to finish the phrase, and I'll give you 4 options to finish the phrase. I put my hand up on your hip. Now the next part is A, when I dip. B, when you dip, C, when we dip, or D, all the above?
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
Yeah, so
is that right?
Yeah, D, all the above. That's the question.
Okay.
That kind of sounded weird when I was doing it. I've never asked that question.
No, that was good because you really have to actually know the song.
Yeah.
When I dip,
all right.
we dip. So did I win?
Would you? All right. So 90s or the 2000, like the 2010 through 2020s?
90s.
The 90s. Why the 90s?
I don't know. I had these awesome blue plaid chucks in the 90s. I don't know. I feel
rather
like
be in the 90s.
there was
you don't like
a little
the internet?
more freedom. You know, I was really expressing myself through fashion at that time. I was learning so much. I like the music.
Yeah, the finger waves.
Oh, girl. Or Dave. Yes. Yes. I had the mushroom cut. I was like here. And it was all down my back, curly. People were like, is that extra hair? What is that? Definitely. So finger waves, had those. And these little baby hairs that all the girls are running around doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bops.
Those are back. Those are
I
back.
know. Yeah.
Those are back.
If I thought I could get away with that, I would do it. I have a picture. So I have my daughter. I was still in high school. So I have a picture of her. We're both wearing matching sweatsuits. And I'm holding her up like, look at my teenage pregnancy. But I got the little swirly gigs.
Yep.
Yeah. So we were using brown gel and toothbrushes and all that stuff back in the day. Now they make it. You can buy a baby hair brush. I don't even know if they call it baby hairs. I feel like they.
Oh, really?
Else. Yeah. A little.
That's funny. I took Wilson to get a shower cap at the beauty supply place not too long ago. I was like, man, what do you know about this? What do you know about this Murray's? You know, I was just going through all the hair products. Like, man, what you know about this?
I can smell some blue magic when somebody walks by.
Oh, the blue magic. Man, my grandmama, I go, man. Yeah, all the things.
Okay, so the 90s, here you go. When you go over to your friends' houses, this is probably bad. Jerry curls, and you could see where everybody was sitting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Jerry curl juice.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta be really the scene in Coming to America will never ever leave.
I love that movie.
Like that's the funniest scene ever. I mean, I was crying. I remember I was I saw that in the theater, and people were literally crying, laughing at that part. I saw that with my dad. Rest in peace.
That's black.
Anyway,
right there.
Right. So, well, you just passed hot take. Good job. You survived. Next time you're on, we'll probably do it again. I had to freestyle the questions this time. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about the BHI or just have questions about Black home ownership in general? Yeah.
So email me, Jasmyn at Windermere, and I'm sure you'll have something in the caption. You can follow me on Instagram, Jasmyn J, JASMYNJ, the letter. Yeah.
All right, we'll have everything linked down below.
Just have it all in there.
We'll have it all linked in the comments. Yeah. Shout out to LeBron James for breaking the record tonight. Most likely, tonight? I gotta get home. I mean, he's got to get 36 points, which he's going to go for 40 tonight. He's going for 40 tonight, 7 o'clock. It'll be on ESPN. We're going to watch a 40-year-old record, one of the most unbreakable records in the history of sports.
That's exciting.
Get broken. And during Black History Month, it's
we got the Super Bowl coming
I'm excited.
Up with 2 black quarterbacks.
That is a big deal. Even though I won't be watching, I will. That is dope. I was alive when Doug Williams won in 1988, so that was a big deal. I remember that was a big deal. I was watching that game. So to be this far along and now have 2 black quarterbacks is just during Black History Month. Like this is Black history happening in real time, and I think we got to make sure that we're not, poo-pooing on it.
We got to keep up the momentum. So
yeah.
Like if you've been thinking about getting involved. And I'm not talking just to you, but to people listening or watching, there's a momentum happening, and I'm seeing layers being peeled back from the perspective of white people who are like, they're starting to get it.
Yeah, yeah. Like how bad it's been.
It
I
might
feel
be
like
a
it's been
small
glossed
group.
over.
I mean, there's still so much work to do, but I feel like if I live off of the insurmountable things that we have to work against, then it would be such a distraction from what can be done. So it's almost like
Yeah.
I gotta focus on what I can do. I'm not ignoring you. I know you're still there, but if we can get the momentum and keep it going, that's when we're going to see the policy changes. So,
Oh, 100%. I agree 100%. I think it's going to happen. There's no question. Over time, it's just going to happen because, you know, kids, we have more information now. I mean, when I was growing up, I had 8-year-old encyclopedias, and that's what the word was, right? So, I mean, as information becomes more readily available and we start to really, truly learn our history, and if schools ain't going to teach it, we're going to learn it anyway because we got social media. We got ways to spread the word now. Yeah, it's going to happen because any reasonable person would look at what is happening and what has happened over since the 1600s and be like, really? Like we got to atone for this. Like reparations, you say reparations and people be like, oh, well, it's like, what do you mean? Why is that that's not a very foreign concept, actually. When if you know the history, it shouldn't even be you shouldn't be scoffed at all.
Right.
And so
we'll have to talk about that.
We getting down the road. We
supposed
to get off the podcast 5 minutes ago. See, I
know you got to go watch LeBron, and I got to go see my boo.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will thank you for joining. We appreciate you coming on, and I will see you sooner than later.
Yeah.
And that is the wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to Inside Abode, Black History Month Reflection Series. We got more on the way, and go learn something new about Black history. Now, you know, while you got your phone in your hand or while you're listening, take some time to go learn something new. It's a good time. Anyway, peace. Enjoy yourself. Till the next time.